Welcome to the MTR coaching hot seat where you get to ask me 15 or 3 questions or less in 15 minutes or less.
Yeah.
I always like to ask, what's our connection point? How did you connect with me?
So my friend, he has a relocating homes website, Craftsman Housing, and he told me to check your page out. So,
Oh, nice. Is that Dave?
I don't.
Oh,
Oh,
John,
I
Christian
Christian. Yeah,
Rosa.
that's him.
That's awesome. Good stuff. So, I want to hear a little bit more about what your endeavors are. And I'm actually just sorry to not be making eye contact. I'm looking at my second monitor because you may have probably submitted some questions ahead of time.
Yeah. So I submitted those. I know they're like tangenty, but if we could go off those would be great because I copied and pasted it, but I don't know where I pasted the questions at. So if we could go
Okay.
off those, that would be lovely.
Okay, cool. Give me a second because I'm like
Okay.
logged out right now. All I'll do
No
is I'll
worries.
put it up on my phone and then we can get started.
Okay.
That's
Awesome.
awesome. So tell me a little bit about yourself while I'm pulling that up. Where are you in your journey?
So I've been in this short-term, midterm rental space for about 4 years now.
Good for you.
I have my co-hosting business that I've been really going hands-on in for the last 2 years. I have about 6 units right now, half own,
Nice.
half co-hosting, and I'm just looking to get into the midterm rental insurance space. I do a
Okay.
lot of traveling people,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I need to learn about this insurance space, so yeah.
You sure do. And where are you based out of?
I'm an hour up north from Los Angeles.
Oh, okay, cool. So you're on West Coast. Okay. I
Mhm.
see the connection point now. Okay, cool. Well, the good news is I did find your questions, and so we can ramp and push through because this time is yours. So I'm looking at what you submitted here, and I see question number one is how do I find what to price my MTR for insurance claims?
Mhm.
Um, and then am I listing it what I'm seeking for baseline and it goes up when it's an insurance claim? Oh, okay, cool. All right, so let's talk about the pricing for a second. So in your current marketplace, Leslie, like what do you is this you own your homes, you manage your homes, remind me again?
Yeah, own and manage. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the rule of thumb that I would get very familiar with,
Mhm.
but because you're in California, there's a little caveat to that. But the rule of thumb is are you familiar with what coverage D is?
Yeah, so I look into that and have been doing the 20%, but I guess my more so is like, am I advertising that price on like Zillow, let's say? Because that's, I mean, it's a high price.
Yeah, it depends what your goal is, Leslie. So put it this way. I actually have two strategies, right? So
Mhm.
so it sounds like just for context, you know what coverage D is, which means that it could be anywhere from 25% of the home physical value. The only caveat that I will say to that is because land value in California is so expensive, you really want to actually possibly get your hands on a policy to get a feel, at least understand what insurance companies are willing to cover for loss of use, because sometimes in a place like California, the land is worth more, and therefore the numbers can be skewed a little bit. It's one thing, keep in mind it's loss of use based on the dwelling value, so there's a high land value as well. So sometimes one might look and say, well, I have a $1.5 million property, if I take 20% of that, it'll be that. Well, not necessarily. Not if the dwelling value of that property is actually 500,000 and your land is 1 million, right? And again, that's just an example, but just for context, I always put a little caveat in areas like New York and California where land is more expensive. With that said, your question is, well, Ruben, what do I put? Do I put this crazy price where people are gonna go crazy? By the way, I've received all sorts of comments, etc. It depends what season you're in. If you're in the season like I'm 100% occupied and I'm trying to actually get a contract that is lucrative, then yes, I would actually put a premium price on like a Zillow rental manager within the databases that you submit. And here's what I would put. Now, this is very important, Leslie. What I would put in that language is that, hey, this is obviously the monthly price. It stays there that it's monthly. Should you have interest for longer term leases like a 3 month stay, 6 month stay, 9 month stay, feel free to inquire, as those are those are different ranges and prices, right? So now what you're doing is you're opening up the door for a negotiation, not against yourself, but rightfully stated that, hey, by the way, that's the monthly rent. If you do lock in 3 months, it could be 15% less. If you lock in 6 months, it could be 25% less. Like, so you're giving that flexibility, but you're not disclosing that dollar amount. You're saying inquire for to receive those details, right? So I do that so that I'm still opening up the door for business. And should you actually be interested in staying a little bit longer and you want a different quote, reach out to me. I'm opening up the door. So does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
So that's if you're not in need of business. If you're in need and you have a vacancy, then don't go for the premium because it's top of the market and you might be alienating anybody that could afford maybe like something a little bit lower than that. So then I would do the opposite and I would say, hey, by the way, what you're seeing on here. So the way you do it is you say on your listing you have, let's say instead of $10,000 a month, you have $6,000 a month, right? I don't know what your numbers are, but I'm just giving that an example. Let's say your top line, most expensive, lucrative is $12,000 a month. Your below line is 6,000. Let's say you're actually trying to get people in the door. It's 6,000. If you're trying to stay for 12 months, the price can vary if you're trying to stay for 3 months versus 6 months. Now you just do the reverse of the other one, right? You're giving them you always want to open the door for a conversation. And it's really
Okay.
important that you kind of state that in your listing. So, like I said, if you're trying to garner some interest and you actually are trying to see what you can get and are trying to gain more traction, then lower your price to closer to fair market value, not like
Yeah.
LTR numbers, but
Right.
obviously you have premium because you have furnished accommodation, and then you can kind of go up from there. Does that make sense? Like, and do you understand like why I would use it one over the other?
Yeah, yeah, that definitely
Okay,
does.
cool.
Yeah. And so I think my third question was something about like so we
I
I'll
can pull
just
it up if you want.
yeah, okay. Because I think it has a lot to do with that. Like, so for if we're only midterm insurance, is it just we're vacant all the time until we get that?
No, no, no. So it's interesting. It's so funny. I think like people find it like all or nothing. Absolutely
Right?
not. Like the way I do it is the way I like to think about it. It's is like this. I'm in the short-term rental space. I just happen to understand that there's a niche out there
Yeah.
where I can work with corporations that will pay me longer short-term stays. And in order for me to do that, I'm always going to show myself as available, period. That's what you're stating. Like that to me is the, you know, problem statement or case study that you're bringing to the marketplace that, hey, I'm an Airbnb operator, but I don't just love having these high turnovers. I'm actually into having longer stays so my cleaners don't always have to show up. And I actually want the peace of mind with these corporations who are going to pay me a premium. Got it? Right? Like that's the angle. So then what does that mean tactically? Tactically, all that it means is that you're now optimized to receive business. I'll give you an example. I have someone that I know that's like trying to get into the space. I had an inquiry the other day for him in my area, and I reached out to him and I looked at his calendar, and he's taking bookings out until October. These companies need something like right now. So I wouldn't overstretch myself outside of a 30-day lead time. Now, what I can do, I'll give you a very example of what happened this week. I got an inquiry for 3 to 6 months, and I have an SDR guest that's checking in this week. So they're like, can we move in like today, ASAP? And I'm like, well, actually, you can move in on the first. Now, if you think about it on the grand scheme of things, if someone's looking to stay for 3 to 6 months and they're probably temporarily housed at a hotel, can they wait an extra week? Of course they can, right? But so what you want to do is you don't want to overextend yourself and be fully booked out so that
Yeah.
you don't ever get a chance to even get these. But it
Right.
also does not mean you're sitting vacant. It means that just like an airplane that takes off, the airline loses money if they don't have standby seats to fill up. So you want to make sure your property is always getting filled up. And that's why we use the Airbnb model, because we have a furnished accommodation. We understand the model. Why not run that until we land that midterm rental contract? And then after that, it's a relationship game and it starts to happen more and more often. And it's kind of a timing thing. It's a dance. Like you
Yeah.
might, you get an inquiry and they're ready to go now. But the reality is that you actually have the control, and they're the ones that need to be flexible because they're the one that need the house, and they can wait like a week or two. But again, we try our best. If it ever gets to a point, Leslie, where the contract is super juicy, it's 6 months lucrative money that you've never even seen before, I will move my Airbnb bookings around. I'm resourceful enough where I'll be like, hey, listen, unfortunately, I can no longer host you. However, I found alternatives for you. Here are some other alternatives. White glove service. We found you three other listings comparable to the same the budget that you had. Please let us know, and it's in your best interest for you to cancel so you get your refund faster so that you can go ahead and rebook. You see, like those are kind of the things that we do, right?
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 30 lead booking time is kind of where you keep it at for instant booking.
My okay, so two things. So I'll give you some quick pointers because you only got 2 minutes. Okay, so for every listing that
Yeah.
I have a short-term rental listing, and in my marketplace, the lead time is 30 days. You want to
Mhm.
look at your lead time. You can go into your Airbnb statistics. If you don't know, just kind of chat GPT it or Google it. You can look at your lead time in your conversions area, and you can see what your lead time is in your marketplace. Every marketplace has a different lead time. So if people are booking short-term rental bookings like 40 days out from the time that they're at home to the time that they're going to stay, you probably want to make your window 40 days. Why? Because you want to be able to capitalize on that business. Now, I wouldn't make it any further than that because then it does get more difficult for you to actually be able to, provide a family an option. The thing I will say, even if you have scattered calendars on the STR side, keep in mind you can always let a family walk through the property on that week and then say, hey, by the way, the move-in date is this date, right? That's the beauty of having still availability on your calendar if you're not booked slam with STR. Okay. And then what I do is I duplicate my listing and I always have a listing that is an MTR listing only, and I remove instant book because therefore now I can actually see what's happening in the marketplace. If I'm starting to get a lot of inquiries constantly, it gives me the confidence that maybe I can 100% go all into this and not have to worry about my STR listing, which is rarely the case because we still use our STR listing to make money when we don't have an MTR contract, but it still serves you best to be able to capture availability and always say you're available to those inquiries that come in, right? So that's honestly a very kind of critical strategic component that we do is we always duplicate our listings so we can always be open to receiving that business. Make sense?
Yeah, I love that idea. Thank you.
Yeah, pretty good stuff, huh? What else you got? I think you have one more question, so let's see if we can squeeze it in there. You said, how much time does the specialist have from contacting us to getting placed into our rentals? Is that your question? That is you, right?
I think it is, but I think my second question, if I recall, it was like scripting. Yeah, like yeah, speaking with the relocation specialist. Like if
Okay.
you have any advice on the scripting part of it to
Yeah.
really secure the deal.
Um, so securing the deal. I think honestly the scripting is more with the family that's walking the property. I think like the relocation specialists don't have in the a, a dog in the fight, right? Or in the race, whatever the expression is.
Yeah.
But they basically are trying to do their job. So they're not going to bat an eye. If there's ever what you can say, if you're kind of like, oh my God, I hope I'm not like kind of like overshooting my shots, like, hey, by the way, just let me know if this doesn't get approved. Definitely come back to me because some relocation specialists will be like, okay, that didn't work out. On to the next one. Just be like, please let me know what can work. I love to be flexible with a company like you because I do value long-term stay. So please, if it does get declined or doesn't get approved, please let me know. I'm happy to always work terms out. Don't make it so easy to give back money. If they say, "Oh, can you do fair market value of 6,800?" I see I live with 10,000. I'm like, typically, like, here's what I can do, right? Like, maybe I can kind of, my utility, like, there's things where you want to be like, okay, fine, like, there's three pets. I'll do one pet fee to make the numbers work. Please go back to the adjuster and see if that works. Like, don't be so quick to be like, okay, like I'll cut my 25% off the top because honestly, at the end of the day, like these companies have money. Now you might get an adjuster on the other side that is just like, kind of giving you a hard time. But really the conversation you want to have is with the family when they're walking the property, you really want to let them know, hey, as soon as you walk from here, like this home might not be available. So I really need you to like say, like commit. I don't have the luxury. And you're not saying I really need you to commit. I'm just, please let me know if you're interested so that I can secure this home for you because we get inquiries every single day. Did you want to move forward with this home? Like that's the kind of language you want to have, a sense of, give them a sense of urgency. And if there's anything that they're looking to actually, oh, like I wish we had a stand-up desk in here for the money you're making. Oh, no problem. We can make that happen. We'll get that arranged. Like let them know you're there to accommodate them and that the deal was done almost like you're expecting them to close. But then let them know if they're unsure that, hey, by the way, like I cannot promise that this home is going to be available as soon as you drive away. So please let me know if I have your verbal commitment or not. That way I can block out the calendar, because at this time of the year we get slam booked with inquiries like yourself, right? That is like a good way to like close the deal with the
Right.
tenant first. That's actually walking the property, and that needs to give the approval after you've already received the approval from the insurance company.
Gotcha. That was really good advice. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you for coming on. I got a whole, Leslie, I got a whole YouTube channel. I have like over 1,000 videos about this. So if you ever want to like just look, just go to the real estate experiment. I think I'll have an automated email that will go out for that, but do not be shy. Grab my MTR insurance blueprint. It's on my website as well. And sometimes I'll do pop-up, sessions, work sessions and all that. I love this space. I actually need to head to my mastermind call because I have a mastermind as well where I help other investors like that. So if you're ever interested, let me know. But otherwise, I'm so glad that you got a chance to sit in together and talk shop. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'm happy to connect and learn more from you. And
I
I'm
would love that.
excited I found you.
Me too, and power to you. I think you're in a great space, and I'm so glad we were mutually connected. So I'll let you conquer the rest of your evening. But if there's anything that comes up, just shoot me an email, and I'm here to help.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Absolutely. Conquer the rest of your evening. Bye, Leslie.
You too. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.